this is the Unit 3 test remediation. So I, of course, am going to go over the most missed questions from our Unit 3 test to better help you when you do the retake. Our first most missed question came from the Cask of Amontillado, and that was the passage by Edgar Allan Poe. Give you a little background on that before I talk about the questions. And then if we need to, we can even go back into the passage. So in the Cask of Amontillado, there's some beef between Montressor and Fortunato. Fortunato doesn't realize this, but Montressor is a bit upset with him for things that he has said. And so he is planning revenge and takes him into a dark cellars or catacombs where this wine is supposedly kept. Well, as they're down there, the reader starts to realize that his intentions are pretty dark, and there's bones down there, and he starts building up a wall, and he's basically burying Fortunato alive. And so the background information is provided for us even before we read the excerpt. So let's take a look at question 6. It says, which line from the story reveals Montressor's true intentions in his dealings with Fortunato? And so when we look at this, if we're saying true intentions is what is actually going to happen when they're down there. So A says, come, I said with decision, we'll go back. Your health is precious. This is not the case because this is when he's kind of just pretending he actually cares about him. B, with these materials and with the aid of my trowel, I began vigorously to wall up the entrance of the niche. And that is exactly what the intentions are, to wall it up. Okay, and so that reveals his true intentions. C, just to check, but to these words I hearkened in vain for a reply. I grew impatient and called aloud. And this is just revealing the situation. It's not really any true intentions there. Okay, so by process of elimination, what makes the most sense? Question 7, how does the author create a sense of tension? And so for this one, I'm going to change my color. It's a little light there. Try this one. For 7, we're looking for that sense of tension. So it says, A, the author uses dialogue to slow the pace, and tension is created through this dialogue because we're listening to their conversation. It does slow the pace. It does create tension. And I'll go back in just a moment to show you where that takes place. Let's just take a look at the other answers so I can explain why they're not correct. The author uses flashback to reveal secrets about the main character. No, there's no flashback provided revealing secrets. If anything, it's just straight up information. Okay, so there's not really tension created from any flashbacks. And there's no withholding of information either. The author intentionally withholds information from readers, leaving them in the dark about the character's motivations. Definitely not. So the tension is created through the dialogue. And I'm just going to backtrack. I have to exit my drawing here. So again, 6 is B. And 7 was A. But when I backtrack to show you the dialogue here, we can see it kind of builds up. We know what's going to happen, but it's slowing things down. He says, no, we can go back if you don't feel well. No, I want to get to the Amontillado. And so they proceed and they have conversation throughout the beginning. Okay, and that helps to build tension. And then as we progress, there's still more dialogue. Okay, proceed. He talks about Lucrece a little bit. Still working on getting to the Amontillado, and again, building that tension. Okay. Third question is also from the Cask of Amontillado. That was question 10. So take a look at this. It says, I struggled with its weight. I placed it partially in its destined position, but now there came from out of the niche a low laugh that erected the hairs upon my head. It was succeeded by a sad voice, which I had difficulty in recognizing as that as the noble Fortunato. And how does the author create surprise in these sentences? So this is when he is stacking those bricks and troweling them. He's basically, burying him alive. and what he hears is a laugh, okay? That erects the hairs upon his head. That makes him kind of shocked, surprised himself, because I don't think he was expecting to hear a laugh. And then also the sad voice, which he doesn't even recognize as the noble Fortunato, because Fortunato, being noble, he wouldn't expect to hear those things from him. But considering the situation that he has put him and basically started to bury him alive, he might be starting to realize that. So it's not by foreshadowing. There's no foreshadowing there. Revealing shocking information. Yeah, it's shocking. He hears the laugh, he hears the sadness, doesn't sound like him. So for Fortunato and also, or for Montressor and for also the reader, we are getting that shocking information. Withholding information, nothing's withheld here. So you could even do process of elimination, realizing there's no foreshadowing, there's no withholding of information. Okay. Next, most missed questions came from the uses and abuses of the umbrella, and this was one we read as a whole in class, but there were parts for you to review. So if we take a look at question 12, how does the phrase "a wet umbrella is an accident," a barbarism, contribute to the author's voice? And so remember, this was the absurdity that the author used. We use umbrellas. They do get wet. How is a wet umbrella an accident, a barbarism? Well, that's ironic. Ironic is like the unexpected. You don't want to talk about, you wouldn't necessarily talk about it that way unless you're trying to be ironic. And so A is correct, adds a touch of irony. B says it creates a sense of clarity. If somebody told me you can't use your umbrella because it's raining, I would be confused. So there's nothing clear there. Offers an attitude of obligation. And there's obligation is something like you're responsible for. And so not exactly showing that. For 14, if we look at the sentence there, the question is asking, how does the word umbrellaists contribute to this passage? Okay, so using that word choice. If one were to research the history of the umbrella, one would discover that it was created with a purpose far different from that which umbrellaists wish to attribute to it. Those gentlemen who mistakenly take their umbrellas to the street when it looks like rain, unaware that they are exposing their precious devices to a washing that never figured into their plan. Remember, he's being a bit sarcastic here, but that's where the humor is supposed to come in. The reader's realizing you're being, actually, I say more exaggerated than anything. So using the word umbrellas and explaining that it's the people that mistakenly get their umbrellas wet, their precious devices, that's terrible. So it's not making it more casual. B, it emphasizes how the narrator feels about the people who use umbrellas. Yes, there's that feeling. If he's saying the umbrellas are the ones that mistakenly take their umbrellas to the street, they expose their precious devices, that lets him see. And it really helps because we have that hyphen that shows he's explaining umbrellaists by how they're behaving. Okay. It doesn't demonstrate the seriousness of the writing either. And the last most missed question came from our infamous The Deadliest Game. Or sorry, The Most Dangerous Game, as I'm trying to change it to Deadliest, but it was. The Most Dangerous Game, and there's an excerpt we're going to look at. It says, how does Zarof's attitude advance the plot of this passage? So we're looking for attitude advancing the plot. And look at our options before we go back to the excerpt. So A, since Zaroff sees Rainsford as sentimental, he misjudges him as an opponent. B, because Zaroff is intelligent, he tries to be master of men. C, since Zaroff enjoys conversation with Rainsford, he uses it to analyze his enemy. Okay, so Zaroff's attitude advancing the plot. Come back to the excerpt that is provided for this one. I have highlighted some things, and this is the conversation where Rainsford is aware now of what General Zaroff is hunting. And he says, I can't believe you're serious. Why shouldn't I be serious? Hunting? What you speak of is murder. And we see the general's reaction, his attitude. He laughed. Okay, he regards Rainsford quizzically, but then he says things like this. I refuse to believe, and just so you know where I'm at, I'm right here. I refuse to believe that so modern and civilized a young man as you harbors romantic ideas about the value of human life. Surely your experiences in the war and Rainsford rebuttals don't make me a murderer. Again, laughter shook the general. How extraordinarily droll you are, he said. One does not expect nowadays to find a young man of educated class, even in America, with such a naive, and if I may say so, mid-Victorian point of view. It's like finding a snuff box in a limousine. Ah, well, doubtless you had Puritan ancestors. So many Americans appear to have had. I'll wager you'll forget your notions when you go hunting with me. You've a genuine new thrill in store for you, Mr. Rainsford. And again he says, thank you. I'm not a hunter. I'm not a hunter. I am a hunter. Oh my goodness, I'm trying to combine the two. I am a hunter, not a murderer. And dear me, said the general, quite unruffled again. So laughing, he's just like, you're foolish. How could you possibly think that this is a bad thing? And he's just like accusing him, matter of factly, that he is naive and he's mid-Victorian. It's time to move into this century and join me. There's nothing more dangerous than hunting humans. Again, General Zaroff's attitude, we realize that is his passion. So if we take a look at our options, how does Zaroff's attitude advance the plot of the passage? Again, looking for the advancing of the passage, the attitude. A, since he sees Rainsford as sentimental, he misjudges him as an opponent. A is correct because he is revealing some of the word choice. He's laughing. He's saying, don't be foolish. This is fun. This is entertaining. This is tough. It's challenging. You have to actually hunt somebody with reason. And so we see that attitude helping to advance the plot. And we know this because in the end, he does misjudge him as an opponent because Rainsford actually is successful in the end. B, because Zaroff is intelligent, he tries to be a master of men. I'd say you could argue that that information is there, but that's not helping to advance the plot. And he's not necessarily saying he's a master of men. He's just trying to come up with this game that actually challenges him. C, since Zaroff enjoys conversation with Rainsford, he uses it to analyze his enemy. He seems to have analyzed him previously, talking to him at the dinner table, kind of getting a feel for him. But now he realizes he doesn't need to analyze Rainsford. Rainsford's already revealed, I'm a hunter, not a murderer. And so we could eliminate that one because that's not helping to advance the plot. And those were our most missed questions. So again, you should be using this help to complete the retake, which is located in the course, especially if you scored a less than proficient grade of below 70%. If you have any other questions, like if there's a question I didn't go over in the remediation that you're stuck on, please reach out to me and I will do my best to help you.